Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager, and I am talking about one of my favorite subjects, and maybe yours, sex, today. And I've been wanting to talk about this topic specifically for decades, and for some reason, I've never talked about it. Not sex. What I'm about to say is more specific, but I haven't talked about it or done videos on it or anything. But here's finally my chance to discuss this. It is called Sex Across the Seven Energy Centers, and we actually have many energy centers in our body, which are centers or vortexes of where energy comes together. We now know that our body doesn't end here, that we have an energy around us, like an aura, and it can vary, and energy just goes on from us, and we send energy out. That's why you can feel people's warmth, you can feel people's heat. But anyway, we have seven main energy centers in our body. We actually have an eighth, which is above our body, about 16 inches above, but I'm not going into that. And with every energy center in our body, it has to do with a theme in our body. Now, different sages and different scientists talk about it in different ways. For the purpose of this experience with you and me, I'm talking from the seven energy centers. The first starts from the base of the spine. And now I'm going to go through it. I'm going to link it to sexual energy. And then I'm going to talk about how that's beneficial for you in cultivating a phenomenal sexual relationship with your partner. So the first energy center located at the base of the spine. And for the purposes of what we're talking about here, it has to do with security. It could also be seen as a creative center, but it's at the base of the spine. And security, when we feel secure, oftentimes there's a better chance that we will have the organs in that area by the lower back and all the area around the ovaries if you're a woman, or reproductive organs below it even, the anal area. All that oftentimes will do well if we have a sense of security. So there is a tie-in between some psychological themes like security and physical well-being, as well as emotional well-being. So the second energy center, which is located maybe an inch below the navel, it really has to do with power and pleasure and aggression. And then going up the chain, going up the back, spine even, you think of the third energy center. The best way to locate it is the pit of your stomach, your solar plexus, where that energy center going to to the back, that has to do with, well, it has to do with self-worth, has to do with will, it has to do with strength, it has to do with commitment and discipline. And then going up again to the fourth power center, energy center, I shouldn't say power center, energy center, that's our heart energy center. That, as you might guess, is the center of love. The fifth energy center, that has to do with right by our throat. In the middle of our throat has to do with expression of truth, expression of love. And then the sixth energy center, you can think of the third eye. Some people think of the pineal gland, but it's somewhere in the middle midbrain, and that has to do with clear perception, clear seeing, clear vision, clear perception. And the seventh, the crown of your head, that seventh energy center has to do with a connection to what's bigger than us, maybe your higher power, a spiritual connection that you have. So now let's go through this, talking about sex and why I think this is so important for us to be aware of. And I'll even use a few clinical stories to demonstrate that. The first energy center, security. I have seen couples that have gotten together where their sexual tie was about security, at least for one person. I had a couple years ago. He was from England. He was new to the country. He came. He met this woman, very attractive, successful woman. She really helped him out in this new country. Fell for her. They got married. Sex life was great. As he got more secure, he just lost his sexual desire. Now, that's not like always bad news. We oftentimes could resurrect and we could redirect the sexual energy, just like you could with electricity. You could put electricity into a light fixture and the light comes on. You could put it into a turbine and it spins around. You could put it in a stereo system and you can have music. You could put it in, many, many, many different ways. Sexual energy is no different. In this case, he chose to move on, actually, which is kind of sad. But once he got more secure, he just didn't have the ability or desire to pick up his sexual energy. So anyway, that's the energy of security. The second energy center has to do with power and sexual pleasure and aggression. So in this energy center is where things like BDSM and bondage, you know, submissiveness and dominance can be very exciting. I go through it, you can see I'm not really judging anything. We're really talking about fluidity. The problem is when couples get stuck in one energy center and they can't move up or down. The second energy center, again, has to do with passion, but also pleasure. And this is when people might develop addiction because it's very pleasure-centered, very centered on feelings and intense pleasure, as well as dominance and submission. Again, each one of these energy centers are not necessarily bad. It's just a way to express sex. So if you are feeling kind of horny and your partner, you just have sex and you have the pure pleasure of two people, that's second chakra sex, second energy center sex. That's all it is. And it's not bad or good. It's just what it is. Third power center, the third energy center is about power. It's about will. It's about discipline. It's about feeling good enough. Now, some people have sex to feel good. Their energy, it's one of, I have sex because that's when I feel good. That's when I feel like I'm good enough. Now, that doesn't sound like a good thing, and it probably isn't. However, it's fine if you feel good, and then sex is another way by giving or receiving sex that you can feel good about yourself. Also, if you are committed to a partner and that's part of it is you want to continue to commit and have sexual connection with your partner, and it's a form of commitment and demonstrating a wish to keep this relationship strong and passionate, that's also third chakra sex, third energy center sex, I should say. And it really can be just fine. But it's the purpose of that sex and the third energy center is self-worth, self-esteem, adequacy, as well as commitment. Now, when you go up to the fourth energy center, that's where it's about love. That's where when you're having sex and it's fourth energy center sex, it's really about experiencing your ability to love, to give love, and to receive love. Another clinical example, I had a couple that I saw where the complaint of the husband was that the wife never wanted to have sex with him. And the complaint of the wife is that she felt that sex was all about him. So I was seeing them, but one session I asked him to come in alone. He came in alone. I had an idea. This is a man who had lost his mother when he was very, very young. He lost his oldest sister when she was 18, he was 9. He lost his wife, and his two daughters even sided with the wife and wasn't seeing him. They had an estranged relationship. So I was thinking, there's all this loss, female loss. And I was wondering if he was having first chakra, first energy center sex that had to do with security. And that it might have felt, I wondered about this, hypothetically, it might have felt clingy to his wife, that it really wasn't about her, it was about him. So I just wondered about it. And I asked him what he typically does what's going on with him, before he engages in some kind of sexual proposal towards his wife. And he says, well, I just look at her, she's beautiful, I get horny, and I just want to just jump on her. And I said, well, I understand that, and being attractive to your wife is a good thing, but here's what I want you to do. Now, what I was doing here is I was bringing him up to fourth chakra, fourth energy center, sex. I'm using the word chakra, but I really want to use energy center. It's a Hindu word, but really I like to use the word energy center. So in this, what I had him do, and he wasn't a touchy-feely guy, but I said, just bear with me. Imagine that this loving, there's a loving frequency in the heavens that you could breathe into the crown of your head and you could breathe it into your heart. And then you exhale it out, your arms, forearms, your fingers, your hands out, your fingers into the universe. And so that you're this conduit, you're conducting this loving energy through your upper half of your body in that way. Breathing it in from the crown of your head into your heart, exhaling it out through your arms, your wrists, your hands, out your fingertips. And when you feel like you are experiencing yourself as this conduit of loving energy, then I want you to look at your wife and say to yourself, my wife needs my loving touch. And then go touch her. So you feel horny, do this exercise, then go touch her. And I had him practice it in the session just to get the feel of it. But then I sent him home. The next day, his wife gives me a call on the voicemail. This was her very short message. Todd, keep talking to my husband. I'll see you in 6 days. Now, what I'm saying there is she experienced something different. It was a different energy. It was sexual energy, just like it was with his first energy center, sex, that I assume I'm correct that that's what it was. But this was coming from his heart. And it opened up their sexual relationship to another way of being. Now, you can also go down to third or second or first, but the problem with many couples is they're stuck in one mode, and it gets boring. I had one lady say, God, my husband always wants me to dress up and have the whips and the chains, and can we just have meat and potato sex? And here's what I think she was saying. We're having second energy center sex. I'd love to have fourth energy center sex. Now, there's also fifth energy center sex in my book, but it's very similar to fourth. It's really expressing your essence, who you are with your partner, and how having that partner express it to you, the deepest sense of their loving presence. So it's similar to fourth, but it's really about truly the expression of what I say, who you truly are, your true potential as spiritual, emotional, physical beings. And sixth energy center is more like you're sensing the mystical. You're sensing the mystical, that there's mystery out there and that you're a conduit for this wonderfully high energy with your partner. And then the seventh energy center, sex, is really about truly when you're connecting to what I would call the divine in you, that you are expressing your highest essence. So each one gets a little higher. It's a little bit quantitative here, but the idea is that you express your highest essence with your partner. Sometimes with Tantra sexuality, people are talking about these higher fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh energy center sex. I don't know if they call it that, but that's basically what they're doing, where sex becomes a conduit for your spiritual self and expressing that with your partner. Again, I have found people practicing all energy centers, and that sometimes it's nice to have sex when you're having a tough time and you just want to feel the security of your partner's body next to you. First energy center sex, no problem. Or sometimes you might want to have just pure pleasure or experience role plays of dominance and submission. I'm really okay with it as long as we understand that we have tremendous potential. So I really wanted to just introduce this idea, and feel free to comment and give me your own stories if you want. And so this is, again, sex across the 7 energy centers. It's really about opening up new vistas of your sexual relationship with your partner. Some people learn to meditate and find that meditation before they have sexual contact, just like this man who did his short little meditation when he went from first to fourth energy and maybe fifth, that can do wonders and creates a variety in sex life between a couple. So I wish you well. I'll have more to say this in the future. And this is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.